Good evening and happy National Day. As the Sultanate of Oman celebrates this glorious occasion, the Sultanate stands together in pride for its heritage and its promising future under the wise leadership of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq.
The Sultanate of Oman is witnessing remarkable achievements in various fields, and through its future vision and continued hard work, looks forward to building on this progress. To everyone watching us behind the screen, this is the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, we begin with the headlines.
His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, the Supreme Commander, graced the Grand Military Parade at Al-Fath Square in Muscat Governorate.
His Majesty the Sultan issues royal orders to rename the Oman Cultural Complex as the Sayyid Tariq bin Taimur Cultural Complex.
As signed by His Majesty the Sultan, His Excellency the Governor of Muscat presides over the launch of the book The Al-Busaidi State, from its founding to the era of renewed renaissance.
The Sultanate of Oman celebrates its National Day with diverse achievements and national projects that contribute to achieving economic diversification policies.
And special economic zones, free zones and industrial cities continue to attract investment projects, and the total investments exceeds 22 billion Omani riyals. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, the Supreme Commander, graced the Grand Military Parade staged at Al-Fath Square in Al-Watiyah in Muscat Governorate in celebration of the glorious National Day of the Sultanate of Oman in the presence of Her Highness, the Honorable Lady, the spouse of His Majesty the Sultan. Upon the arrival of His Majesty the Sultan at the parade ground, he was received by His Highness Sayyid Shihab bin Tariq Al Said, Deputy Prime Minister for Defense Affairs, His Excellency General Sultan bin Mohammed Al Nomani, Minister of the Royal Office, and Vice Admiral Abdullah bin Khamis Al Raisi, Chief of Staff of the Sultan Armed Forces. When His Majesty the Sultan ascended the royal dais, columns of the parade performed the military salute. The joint corps of military bands played the royal anthem, while the Sultan of Oman's artillery at the Royal Army of Oman fired a 21-gun salute to His Majesty the Sultan.
سلام جلالة السلطان هيثم المعظم. سلام كيف
Afterward, the commander of the military parade, mounted on horseback, advanced towards the royal dais, seeking the permission of His Majesty the Supreme Commander to commence the military parade.
مولاي صاحب الجلالة، طابور قواتكم المسلحة جاهز. هل تأمر جلالتكم ببدء الاستعراض؟ مولاي. طبال اسرع.
Units representing the Royal Army of Oman, the Royal Air Force of Oman, the Royal Navy of Oman, the Royal Guard of Oman, the Sultan's Special Force, and the Royal Oman Police participated in the parade, along with the joint military bands. The joint military bands representing the Sultan's Armed Forces, the Royal Guard of Oman, the Royal Oman Police, and the Royal Court Affairs performed a musical parade in slow and regular march past the royal dais, presenting the military salute to His Majesty the Supreme Commander. Then, columns of the Protocols Guard joined the parade and performed ceremonial gestures to the accompaniment of melodies from the Joint Corps of Military Music Bands, performing the military salute to His Majesty, the Supreme Commander. This was followed by a parade of the camouflage uniform column representing the SAF, RGO, SSF, and ROP. They passed by the royal dais, performing the military salute for His Majesty.
After that, His Majesty the Sultan viewed a show performed by the Firak forces at the Royal Army of Oman. Chanting the traditional Omani folklore locally called the Al-Habot, they passed before the royal dais, performing the military salute to His Majesty the Sultan. His Majesty then witnessed a musical display on horseback staged by the mounted bands, passing in front of the royal dais and performing a military salute to His Majesty.
Later, the columns of the parade performed an ensemble of cheers that proclaimed faith in Allah, loyalty to the Sultan, sacrifice for the nation. They chanted thrice, "Long live His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, the Supreme Commander."
كاسح الإيمان بالله، الولاء للسلطان، الذود عن الوطن. يعيش جلالة السلطان هيثم المعظم، يعيش جلالة السلطان هيثم المعظم، يعيش جلالة السلطان هيثم المعظم.
Following that, aerial formations of several fighters and rotary wing aircrafts thundered across the sky above the parade ground, embodying the high level of combat efficiency and readiness, as well as the development and progress witnessed by the Sultan's armed forces under the wise leadership of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, the Supreme Commander. Then, the Joint Corps of Military Music Bands played the royal anthem, while the columns of the parade performed the military salute, marking the conclusion of the military show.
سلام جلالة السلطان هيثم المعظم، سلام قف.
Then, His Majesty the Sultan left the parade ground. The military parade was attended alongside His Majesty the Sultan by a number of Their Highness members of the royal family, dignitaries of Al Busaidi family, ministers, advisors, commanders of the Sultan Armed Forces, commanders of military and security services, heads of the diplomatic missions of the Arab and foreign countries accredited to the Sultanate of Oman, members of the State Council and Shura Council, undersecretaries, senior military and security officers, retired officers, and citizens.
In line with the vision of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq to commemorate the legacy of prominent Omani figures whose contributions enriched the nation's path of progress, His Majesty has issued royal orders to rename the Oman Cultural Complex as the Sayyid Tariq bin Taimur Cultural Complex. The decision recognizes the achievements of the late His Highness Sayyid Tariq bin Taimur, whose legacy helped shape modern Oman. The new name reflects the project's national, cultural and civilizational importance and highlights the ambition for this landmark to become a leading cultural beacon locally and internationally. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Youth is honored to express to His Majesty the Sultan its deepest gratitude and appreciation for his generous patronage and wise guidance, which have enabled Oman, with its authentic identity, to attain its esteemed position on the cultural scene, praying to Allah the Almighty in these blessed days of the Omani Renaissance to preserve His Majesty for Oman and its people as distinguished leader, and to bestow upon him abundant blessings. Sayyid Tariq bin Taimur bin Faisal bin Turki bin Saeed bin Sultan bin Ahmed bin Saeed al-Busaidi assumed the position of the first Prime Minister as the beginning of the Blessed Renaissance era in the Sultanate of Oman.
Sayyid Tariq bin Taimur received his education in both Turkey and Germany, mastering the languages of these two countries in addition to Arabic. He also received his military training in India. Upon his return to the country, he assumed the position of chairman of Muscat and Matrah municipality during the 1940s. His scientific, political, and military background contributed to his support for the political stability of the state during the reign of his brother, Sultan Saeed bin Taimur. He also played a prominent role in laying the foundations for the blessed Renaissance era under Sultan Qaboos bin Saeed. On the international stage, he contributed to the Sultanate of Oman's accession to the United Nations, heading its delegation in 1971, where he delivered Oman's address that solidified its international presence and marked the beginning of modern Omani politics and diplomacy.
As signed by His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, His Excellency Sayyid Saud bin Hilal al-Busaidi, Governor of Muscat, presided over the launch of the book, The Al-Busaidi State, from its founding to the era of renewed Renaissance. The book details the most prominent local achievements and foreign relations of the rulers of the Al-Busaidi state, from its founder, Imam Sayyid Ahmed bin Saeed, to the prosperous era of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq. The book records the history of the Al-Busaidi state, serving as both a historical document and an educational tool that contributes to instilling values of national belonging. It also outlines the historical path that led to the establishment of modern state in the Sultanate of Oman and the achievements of Oman's renewed Renaissance.
In her address, Her Excellency Dr. Madiha bint Ahmed al-Shaybani, Minister of Education, stated that the book's launch documents the biographies of sultans immortalized by history and serves as a bridge connecting the present with the past. Her Excellency pointed out that the launch of this book complements those educational efforts that draw inspiration from Omani history to instill the value of citizenship and contribute to building national identity among students in line with the philosophy of education in the Sultanate of Oman and Oman Vision 2040, which has made education a fundamental pillar for building Omani citizens capable of creativity and competition.
The Sultanate of Oman marks nearly 3 centuries since the rise of Al-Busaid rule, a turning point that shaped the nation's identity and its role in the region.
From Imam Ahmed bin Saeed's unification of the country in 1744 to the transformative Renaissance led by the late Sultan Qaboos bin Saeed, and now the renowned Renaissance under His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, Oman's journey continues to reflect unity, stability, and forward-looking ambition.
The Sultanate of Oman is celebrating the National Day, a moment to honor a history of courage, unity and pride. 281 years ago, a new chapter began in Oman's history. In 1744, the Al Busaid rule took shape. From the shores of Muscat to the far reaches of East Africa, Oman emerged as a confident maritime and commercial power, respected, strategic, and deeply rooted in its identity. Centuries later, that legacy would enter a remarkable modern phase under the leadership of the late Sultan Qaboos bin Said. His renaissance transformed Oman into a nation of institutions, infrastructure, education and opportunity, a country that looked to the future while holding firmly to its values. His approach to foreign policy became a defining hallmark: non-interference, neutrality and dialogue, earning Oman global trust and admiration. Today, this legacy continues with His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq Al Said. Since assuming the reins of leadership in January 2020, His Majesty has upheld this legacy with clarity, ensuring Oman remains a nation that seeks dialogue, supports stability, and respects the sovereignty of all states. His Majesty has steered the country into what is known as the renewed Renaissance, a forward-looking vision that builds on past achievements while preparing Oman for the realities of tomorrow. Under his leadership, Oman Vision 2040 has become a national roadmap, driving economic diversification, empowering youth, expanding opportunities, and strengthening the role of women in shaping the nation's future. His Majesty's commitment to economic resilience and social stability has kept Oman moving forward even amid global challenges. It is a continuity that reinforces trust in Oman's voice both regionally and internationally. As the country accelerates toward 2040, the vision of the renewed Renaissance becomes clearer: a people empowered, an economy transformed, and a nation confidently asserting its place in the world, proud of its past, secure in its present, and ambitious for its future.
In 2025, His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq carried out a series of important tours inside and outside the Sultanate of Oman, strengthening cooperation in economic development, investment, energy and strategic partnership, and reinforcing Oman's forward-looking role on the global stage.
The Sultanate also welcomed several high-level leaders throughout the year, further deepening partnerships and enhancing political and economic cooperation. These visits underscored Oman's position as a trusted pillar of stability, dialogue, and regional engagement.
A 2025 has been a remarkable year for the Sultanate of Oman's diplomacy, a year that reflected the balanced, confident foreign policy of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, both at home and across the region and the world. Inside Oman, His Majesty carried out significant royal visit to follow up on development and national priorities. In the Far, His Majesty inaugurated the new Divisions Forces Command headquarters of the Royal Army of Oman, a visit that highlighted the Sultanate's commitment to strengthening its defense capabilities. Days later, His Majesty toured wilayats in the Far and Al-Wusta governorates, reviewing major projects, meeting citizens, and ensuring that development aligned with Oman Vision 2040 reached every part of the country. Regionally, Oman welcomed several key leaders from neighboring countries. In January, His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of Qatar, arrived in Muscat for a two-day state visit. Talks focused on deepening strategic cooperation in investments, energy, transport, and regional stability. The Sultanate of Oman received Iran's President Dr. Masoud on an official visit where he discussed avenues for economic cooperation and ways to enhance regional dialogue. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa of Bahrain also paid a state visit to the Sultanate of Oman. The United Arab Emirates President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed paid a fraternal visit to Salalah, reaffirming the deep strategic ties and shared priorities between the two nations. The Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Mish'al Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, also visited the Sultanate, further strengthening the strong brotherly relations and joint cooperation between Oman and Kuwait. Later in the year, Sultanate of Oman welcomed President Erdogan of Turkey, whose visit reinforced cooperation in trade, defense, energy, and regional dialogue. Beyond the region, His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq carried out a series of high-level state visits that broadens Oman's global partnerships. The journey began in April with a state visit to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, where the two nations advanced cooperation in green hydrogen, ports, water management, and sustainable logistics. Immediately after that, His Majesty traveled to Moscow for a state visit to the Russian Federation, witnessing major agreements in energy, investments, technology, and visa facilitation, a strong reflection of the Sultanate of Oman's balanced diplomacy. In May, His Majesty visited Algeria, revitalizing economic and political cooperation and strengthening ties within the Arab world. The diplomatic calendar resumed in October with a state visit to Belarus, where agreements focused on food security, agriculture, logistics, healthcare, tourism, and a mutual visa waiver for citizens. The year concluded with a landmark state visit to Spain in November. Talks in Madrid with King Philip and senior Spanish leaders marked the beginning of a new strategic partnership in renewable energy, green hydrogen, tourism, infrastructure, and scientific cooperation. From Dhofar to Al-Wusta, from the Gulf capitals to Europe, Russia, North Africa, and Turkey, 2025 stands as a year in which Oman strengthened its bridges of diplomacy, expanded its partnerships, and reinforced its role as a pillar of stability and dialogue.
As the Sultanate of Oman celebrates its National Day, the country is moving forward with a clear digital vision.
Artificial intelligence, smart services, and local innovation are shaping a new chapter in building a resilient AI-driven digital economy. More details in this report.
Guided by its 2040 vision, which places technology and innovation at the center of national growth, the Sultanate of Oman is moving steadily toward a modern digital economy. Expanding digital infrastructure and fast networks are supporting new tech industries, opening the door for artificial intelligence and data-driven services to become part of daily life.
Oman strategy, its artificial intelligence strategy is aligned with Oman Vision 2040. So most companies are aligning, which is contribute to the economy of the country. First sector, which is these companies are focusing on, is oil and gas, which helps in the field of predictivity using AI plus the safety. And second, in the field of health. AI companies are investing, and third is about the public services, which is general public use, which includes smart traffic or health or waste management and other services.
Across public and private sectors, AI is already showing its value. In some service centers, robots assist customers and guide them through their transactions. Smart platforms also help citizens complete procedures more quickly. Behind these tools is a growing group of young Omanis and startups confident in building the systems shaping the country's digital future.
Artificial intelligence landscape in Oman is moving towards a very exciting and a mature phase. As you can see in the recent years here in Oman, there was like a strong national push towards the digital transformation and the adoption towards AI. We're very proud here in Rihal to say that we have around 89% Omanization. We work in many industries that both offers products and services. We just closed recently a deal around deal investment with IVCA Group. This will allow us to expand globally as well. What we offer here is the AI solutions, building them and developing the AI solutions in country.
A strong digital backbone supports this progress. AI startups and digital businesses rely on a fiber optic network that reached about 301,000 active subscribers by the end of October 2024, with coverage across roughly 881,000 units. This reach gives companies the connectivity they need to innovate and expand smart services nationwide. The Sultanate of Oman is moving forward with a clear vision, and the Omani youth are harnessing AI and smart technologies to help drive a knowledge-based economy. Reporting from the Governorate of Muscat, this is Saleh bin Khalfan al-Rahbi.
On Omani National Day, thousands of residents who have found a second home in Oman celebrating their belonging in their own way.
Tonight, we look at what it truly means living in Oman and how the spirit continues to inspire everyone who calls Oman home. In this report, Ruqayya highlights two of these inspiring stories.
On National Day, it's not just Omanis who celebrate. Here on Omani soil live thousands of residents who have found a second home in this country, celebrating their belonging in their own unique way. In a neighborhood in Muscat, the Alsam family home has transformed into a small space brimming with stories. From a simple initiative that began with a bookshelf, the family created a home library open to the neighborhood children.
We do this together as a family, and as you can see, we have an awful lot of cabinets with books inside. And so for us, National Day is all about celebration. It's our 12th year living in Oman, and we love it here.
The best thing about having a library in my home is probably like helping others by letting them borrow the books or reading to them.
The family now considers Oman a home for stories told, not just books read. Few doors down and in this kitchen, Chef Vanessa found her way into the hearts of Omanis through flavors, with her passion for cooking and her love for this country.
For me, Oman National Day has become a celebration of home. Home isn't where you're necessarily just born. It's where you spend time, where you're shaped, where you learn a lot, where you're given opportunity for growth. And for me, Oman has been a very big catalyst for my growth. I've been fortunate enough to be exposed to so many different cultures, and one of the cultures I grew up in was obviously the Swahili culture, and coming into Oman, you see a lot of that splashed around. And being able to fuse certain meals together, like shua with a pilau rice, for example, making those fusions just keep me connected to the culture I grew up with, while still blending the culture that I've learned while here.
One dish is all it takes to unite the community and to bring a smile to every person.
On the National Day, the meaning of belonging is renewed, not only in the hearts of Omanis, but also in the hearts of those who have shared this land and this love with them. In Oman, every story of belonging deserves to be told. Ruqayya Rashid Al-Khdairi, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
Special economic zones, free zones and industrial cities in the Sultanate of Oman are witnessing rapid growth in investments, with 138 new investment contracts and accumulated investments of about 22 billion Omani riyals. These areas are becoming increasingly attractive to local and international investors.
These zones and industrial cities play a vital role in strengthening Oman's manufacturing and industrial capabilities. Their continued expansion adds significant value to the national economy and supports the country's long-term development goals.
As of the end of June 2025, the accumulated investments in special economic zones, free zones and industrial cities in the Sultanate of Oman reached approximately 22 billion Omani riyals. This follows the successful attraction of 138 new investment contracts worth over 1 billion Omani riyals, mostly in the industrial sector. The Duqm Special Economic Zone accounted for 6.3 billion Omani riyals of these investments, while the Salalah Free Zone attracted 5.3 billion Omani riyals and the Sohar Free Zone secured 1.8 billion Omani riyals, while Al Mazyuna Free Zone brought in 140 million Omani riyals. Also, investments in Khazain Economic City amounted to approximately 752 million Omani riyals, and the Public Authority for Industrial Estates Madain registered 7.6 billion Omani riyals.
The Public Authority for Special Economic Zone and Free Zone, we are doing, and our commitment is to promote investment, local and foreign investment, to be hosted in our zones that we are supervising. Alhamdulillah, we have until now 22 billion Omani riyals of investment are established in our zones, and these are growing, and the numbers are growing. This is in industrial, manufacturing, commercial, logistic, and tourist also. And we are in our authority working toward achieving the goals of Oman 2040.
The Public Authority for Special Economic Zones and Free Zones collaborates with relevant authorities to develop specialized industrial clusters supported by integrated facilities. These provide raw materials, real estate solutions, and financial services, which enhance project integration within supply chains and added value sectors. This includes developing aluminum industrial clusters in Sohar, cold chain logistics in Duqm, and industrial gypsum in Shalim. Additionally, work is ongoing to develop 2 special economic cities in the Wilaya of Ibri, Al-Dhahira Governorate, and Al-Rawda within Al-Buraymi Governorate.
In Sohar, we have an ambition plan. We have Sohar Vision 2040, which is fully aligned with Oman Vision 2040 to enhance the logistics sector in Oman and support the local economy in North al-Batina governance, but also as Oman country. During the first half of this year, we have signed 7 new agreements with a total investment of 1.7 billion USD in different industries. One of the main targeted industries for us is the pharmaceutical industry, where we are trying to localize this industry within Sohar to support the local market, but also the international market. The other focus in industry is the renewable industry, what we call it here in Sohar the high-tech industry. We were trying to localize the value chain of the solar modules in Sohar, started from the polysilicon projects and down the road to produce the solar modules in Sohar.
The law governing special economic zones and free zones in the Sultanate of Oman represents a strategic step towards enhancing investment attractiveness and establishing an advanced business environment centered on innovation and smart industries. This is facilitated through streamlined procedures via a one-stop system, along with granting of incentives and tax exemptions.
Sohar Port is a cornerstone of Valley Oman's success due to its strategic location at the crossroads of global trade routes and its deep water infrastructure with a 25 meters depth to receive Valley Max vessels carrying 400,000 tons of iron ore enough to build 5 Golden Gate bridges, or the equivalent weight of over 100 Eiffel Towers. This port enables us to handle 40 million tons annually, along with a blending facility that processes 5 million tons each year to deliver customized solution for the steel industry, positioning Sohar as a key hub in global supply chain and a driver of sustainable industrial growth.
Special economic zones, free zones and industrial cities in Oman rely on advanced infrastructure, including ports with international standards, multi-purpose docks, modern international airports, alongside of a highly developed road network, integrated logistics areas and even warehouses. All this strengthens the Sultanate of Oman's position as a regional hub for manufacturing and distribution, promoting it to become a strong competitor in global supply chains.
This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, the Supreme Commander, grasped the Grand Military Parade at Al-Fath Square in Muscat Governorate.
His Majesty the Sultan issues royal orders to rename the Oman Cultural Complex as the Sayyid Tariq bin Taimur Cultural Complex.
Assigned by His Majesty the Sultan, His Excellency the Governor of Muscat presides over the launch of the book, The Al-Busaidi State, from its founding to the era of renewed renaissance.
The Sultanate of Oman celebrates its National Day with diverse achievements and national projects that contribute to achieving economic diversification policies.
And special economic zones, free zones and industrial cities continue to attract investment projects, and the total investment exceeds 22 billion Omani riyals.
Omanis are looking forward to a flourishing period and a more prosperous future under the wise leadership of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq.
A period of fresh aspirations for a more developed nation. Oman, you are in our hearts. Our leader, the Sultan, we are with you all the way long. May the Almighty Allah bless you and bless the people of Oman.
That brings us to the end of tonight's news. Thank you for watching and have a great National Day celebration.